Ladies and gentlemen,
They say the next big thing is here.
the Steve Warneke Show.
Well, welcome everybody to the Steve Warneke Show. Based on that information, I'll give you one guess who I am. Yes, that's correct. Thanks for joining me again, author of From Boy to Blue, Becoming One of America's Finest, available at Amazon.com or at stevewarneke.com. So I am your resident police expert with over 15 years of service at in the city of Denver for the Denver Police Department, retired as a sergeant. And as part of this promotion for my new book, I'm sort of trying to repair the relationship between citizens and the police because there's a disconnect that there doesn't have to be. And so as part of just, frankly, it's good to tell some of my stories, but it's really kind of a different perspective that I don't think a lot of people have thought about. And that's sort of the point of these podcasts, is to give you a new perspective that you might not have had about some of the stuff that goes on between law enforcement and the community. Today's episode is called Above the Law. And I thought about this yesterday when I was debating what to talk about, and I thought, you know, it struck me at my time at the police department, and even more so today, since I've been retired about 2 years, that police departments now are more and more concerned with the perception that their police officers are above the law. Some of the ways that they are concerned about this is, and in my experience, I've seen police departments tone down uniforms in riot control situation. We don't want you to wear the BDUs, which is like the SWAT-looking things, because it's too intimidating. We're not trying to intimidate people. I've seen news stories where I guess it's a slow news day, so the local news people will go out and they'll find a police car parked illegally at like Chipotle or a restaurant and film it, and then, you know, wait till the cop comes out and find out he was just eating dinner, and then put that on the news. Oh, look at this guy, parked illegally. Oh, they think they're above the law, huh? And everyone's at home going, well, if I could eat at Chipotle and park on the sidewalk, yeah, You know, it's this abuse of power is what this is. It's an abuse of power. So it isn't really. And I've got not only several reasons, logistical reasons why it's prudent for police officers to park close to where they're at, but also just some other reasons just in general. So we're going to talk about that. And, you know, the funniest thing about the news media is that no matter when a big media events, they're the first ones to pull up on the sidewalks with their satellite microwave trucks. I mean, I got so tired of these stories of the media taking pictures of police cars parked illegally that I started taking pictures of the news media parked illegally, because they just park wherever the hell they want to. And when they do a story on the sidewalk, on the grass, in the park, in front of the city, they don't care. So it's like a double standard. So police departments have been more and more concerned that their cops look above the law, so they're trying to hold everybody to account. And in my book, I go to great lengths to talk about how it is that police officers are held accountable for their actions time and time again for everything they do. And you'll hear more and more examples of this as our podcast goes on. But in some respects, what I'm about to say is controversial, and in some respects, it's just not. So police officers are, in fact, above the law in some regards, are they not? I mean, police officers are allowed to arrest people, to take away their very freedom and put them in a cell where you are not free to leave, to put you in jail, to take away arguably the most important thing you have in this life is your freedom. Police officers are allowed to use force to effect an arrest, to prevent the escape, to protect themselves or a third party. Those are some of the times police officers are allowed to use force by statute. Police officers are allowed to break traffic laws while they're driving occasionally. They can run red lights. They can speed. They can turn their lights on and do U-turns and drive down the shoulder of the highway during rush hour. Police officers used to be able to park wherever they want. Now, necessarily they can't. But if they're on a call, our department said while I was there, it was like, all right, no more parking where it is, wherever you want. If you're eating, if you're doing personal, if you're on a call, then you can do it. Okay. It's ridiculous. To appease the people that were angry, when I think if they hear what I'm about to say here today, if chiefs, police departments, sheriffs would stand up and say this when the news media comes out with this ridiculous story, that maybe most of the silent majority would go, yeah, that's reasonable. I'm okay with it. So once again, I'm going to talk about law. There's no absolutes. It's so convoluted. It's not 2 + 2 = 4. There's so many exceptions. There's really no absolute rules in law enforcement. Zero. Actually, in just the law in general. The law says, thou shalt not kill. Thou shalt not kill. It is illegal to murder people. Unless they're about to kill you. Then you can do it. In some states, well, they break into your house. All right, you can kill them then too. Well, what about if somebody's about to murder somebody else? Okay, all right, we're going to let that one go as well. What about capital punishment? Okay, all right, another good one. That's okay sometimes. That's what they're going to say, right? So there's no absolutes. Another one they teach you in the police academy, like if you're going to use force, you're to strike people in approved areas with like a baton. Don't hit them in the head, don't spine, no joints, no elbows, no knees, just to prove there's approved areas. Unless they're choking you and you're about to go unconscious and somebody hits you in the head with a baton, then it's okay. There's no absolutes in law. It's so difficult because every situation is different. That's why we talk about a totality of the circumstances. You really have to look at just everything. There may be a time when hitting somebody in the head with your radio is appropriate. There may be a time when it's not. And nowadays, we're seeing this proliferation of videos come out where there's 3 hours of taunting going on, and then when officers who are oftentimes protecting the very people that are protesting the police, they're out making sure they don't get hurt, exercising their right of free speech, the officers get provoked into using force, and then all you see is the 3 seconds where the officers used force, but not the 3 hours of elbowing, shoving, throwing piss balloons, whatever else they were doing in your face, swearing, throwing bottles, rocks, coming at you aggressively. You don't see any of that. So I wanted to make a couple points about the first two things. You maybe never even thought of this. Police have the power to arrest people. I mentioned that. Take away their freedom. There's also such a thing called a citizen's arrest. You are actually allowed to arrest people as well. If you came across somebody who was beating an old woman and stole her purse and you tackled this person and held him down until the police came, it's citizen's arrest. That's a thing. It's in the statutes in most places. You're allowed to arrest people as a citizen. You don't have to be a police officer. The police can take it a little further. They can conduct investigations and write search warrants or write arrest warrants. But there's checks and balances, as there always is in government. For instance, a search warrant requires typically a district attorney to review it and a judge to sign it. I don't just get to write whatever the hell I want, go arrest people. If I did, I would have arrested Paul McGuire when he was a football commentator, when he was in Denver. He's the guy who used to drive me crazy. I thought, can I just go in the booth and arrest him? Can you imagine this? It's on Sunday Night Football on ESPN. Paul, I've had enough of you. It's ridiculous. I mean, just stand up. You're going to jail. We can't listen to any more of this. He's not around anymore. Somebody finally got smart. Anyway, I don't know why that came to my mind, but I always used to sit there off duty just thinking, what if I just got my uniform on and drove down to where the Broncos are playing and just arrested Paul McGuire right in the middle of the show? Wouldn't that be great? I don't know. I would have done it, but I probably would have been fired and then I would have gone to jail. Wouldn't have been worth it. So. But anyway, you can arrest people. But the police can go one step further. So there is a little bit of police do have some more power because police can make an arrest even if they don't see it happening. So they show up and the crime is over. And if the police obtain probable cause to believe that a crime is committed, they can arrest the person even after it's over. So they don't have to personally witness it. So that's a difference. But you, as a citizen, without any training, you don't have to go to a citizen's academy. You can do a citizen's arrest. You're actually empowered by the statutes. What about use of force? Police are able to use force to effect an arrest. Right? So, police are able to use force to effect an arrest of a person who's committed a crime or about to commit a crime. But you can as well. Go back to my situation where the grandma is being beaten up and her purse taken and you tackle the guy and hold him down for the police. Perfectly within your rights. There was a case here recently in Florida where a citizen got out. A cop was being beaten up by somebody he had pulled over, is on top of the officer, striking him in the face. The citizen gives commands, and long story short, citizen ends up taking out his firearm and shooting the officer. The person assaulting the officer. The court said, yeah, that was fine. He wasn't a cop. He's using force. Deadly force is okay. There's instances where that's okay is also. States like Florida have the stand your ground law when it comes to your home or your property. Colorado has the make my day law. Several states have some sort of a version of this where you're able to protect yourself against an assault in certain places like your own home. So it's not just United flight attendants that get to use force anymore, or the police. All right, it's everybody. You can do it also. It's not just exclusive to the cops. I just wondered, have you ever thought about that? You know what I'm saying? So your use of force may not be as broad as what law enforcement officers can do. There's a whole bunch of statutes that determine when a person can use force for home protection and defense of property. You typically can't protect property with deadly force. But I pulled up the statutes in Florida this morning. I wasn't a policeman in Florida, but I was in Colorado, but just to see what it was like here. Just right on the internet. Took me 5 minutes. 776.031 of the Florida state statutes. Use or threaten use in defense of property. A person is justified in using or threatening to use force except deadly force against another when, to that extent, the person reasonably believes that such conduct is necessary to prevent or terminate the other's trespass on or interference with either real property or other than a dwelling or personal property. But what I'm saying is, I could read, that goes on and on. You know, you have to graduate from Harvard to be able to make it through this without going, whereas, yes, that was a whereas. I thought that was a whereas, yeah. So you can use force to protect your property, just not deadly force. Okay? And here, in some instances, but again, there's no absolutes. The police can't do it either. We can't shoot the guy in the back who's just stole the pack of gum from 7-Eleven. But you can. Let's say I was a corrections officer working at a state penitentiary and a serial killer has escaped and he's running away. And he's going to go loose into the community. Can you shoot him in the back? Yes. You're preventing the escape of a fleeing felon who poses this serious and significant threat to the community. So the police's ability to use force does go above and beyond yours, but you still have these things. And I think I bring that up because we lose sight of the fact that we're entitled to do, under the law, most of what the police are entitled to do. Think about driving as maybe one of the exceptions. You can't go rent a car with lights and sirens. You can't go 85 down the highway. And most of the reason for that is because you're not trained. You're not trained to go fast. You know what I mean? So, but if you're having a heart attack, if you were having a heart attack and you call an ambulance, they'll put you in the ambulance, put the siren on, and drive over the speed limit with you in the car and run red lights all the way to the hospital. So there is a point at which even you can be in the car that's going speeding fast, running red lights with the siren and lights on. You just can't be the one driving it. The reason that everybody else is because they are professionally trained to do so. So you could even get that done. But you can't run red lights and so forth. Okay. In your personal car. But, I mean, really, would it depend? Would it depend? Would you get a ticket if your wife was giving birth in a vehicle and you were speeding and you were running red lights on the way to the hospital? I don't know. Maybe. Maybe not. Not a good idea, though. Just call the ambulance. Cops can carry a gun, right? So can you. In some places, open carry is allowed. You're just allowed to just like the Old West, just slanging and blanging, just slanging on the side, just a 6-shooter. Some places you're allowed to do that. And if you're not allowed to do that, in most places you can get a concealed carry permit. Well, cops can carry guns, so can you. You just have to go to a class, do some training, show you've got some proficiency with the firearm, and guess what? You can also carry a gun. So there are some differences. But you're entitled to do a lot of this. I just thought that was interesting. Now let me go back to parking. Why is it necessary that police be able to park illegally? Well, there's several logistical reasons. First of all, you want cops to be close to their car if anything bad happens. And I cannot tell you the number of times that I've stopped at a Starbucks during my time on the police force, stopped to get up something and parked, in front of the front doors of a Walmart or a Starbucks or a Kmart. And as soon as I get out of the car, every time, somebody says, well, it must be nice to park wherever the hell you want. Oh, can I give you a ticket, Mr. Officer? Like, really, I mean, just people are just so pissed. Like, oh, I want to park there too, damn it. Like, they're so angry. They're so pissed off about it. It's unbelievable to me. Let me, you know what I would tell them? This is what I would tell most people. I'd say, sir, listen, it's really important that my car is close by because if your daughter were being abused by her husband, she was being beaten to death, would you want me to run 3 blocks away to my legally parked car? Or would you want it to be right outside of the place? It saves time. When something comes out, let me tell you about police work. It's 98% boredom and 2% sheer terror. You're just driving around with your thumb up your butt looking for something to do a lot of the time. And then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, bam, simulcast, shots fired, blah, blah, blah. And I don't want to have to run 2 blocks to my car. Now, you can say that's an excuse, but I think that's legitimate. I really do. Secondly, what if I'm in the Starbucks and somebody comes in and robs it? Or what if I'm in the Starbucks and somebody gets in a fight? Or what if I'm in the Starbucks and I recognize somebody with a warrant and I get into a resistance and I'm fighting and I push my emergency button and they know about where I am? Guess what? My car does. It alerts all of the incoming police officers where I'm at so they can come help me. Another great reason cops should be able to park wherever they want when they go on a call. And you don't get to do this on your time off at the mall. That'd be lovely on Saturday with the wife and kids. You just plop up on the sidewalk in front of Macy's. Get out of here, I'm a policeman. Goddamn, something might happen. Get out of my way. Just leave your business card on the dash. Just block the doors. It doesn't. You're only able to do this while you're working, so you can't go grocery shopping for the week while you're doing this. We're talking about a Starbucks run. We're talking about a Chipotle run. We're talking about a dinner run. We're talking about some minor stuff here and there. This doesn't mean that you get to just drive up on the sidewalk whenever you want. That you get to go down the shoulder on your way home or on your way to a Denver Broncos football game because traffic is bad on your time off with your family. I'm a policeman. Get out of the way. I'm on the side. I'm on the shoulder. You don't get to do that. There's a third reason why parking in front of a place is another good reason to do. It's a deterrent. If I'm parked in front of the Starbucks and my police car's right there and somebody was going to rob the Starbucks, they might not do it while I'm there. It's a deterrent. You know, this actually happened one time. We used to go to the Starbucks when they opened early in the morning. They'd let us in like 15 minutes early. This was when I worked graveyard shift. They'd let us in like 15 minutes early. This is the way people think about the police now. I would get there 15 minutes early, and they would say, the new girl opened the door. She goes, I can't let you guys in. We have the safe door open. It's like, oh my God, that's what's become of the police. They don't even, I mean, people hire us. They pay us all kinds of money to sit there and guard the money. And this woman doesn't want the uniformed cops in there while she has the safe door open. This is why I'm doing these podcasts, to help people like that, to change the perception of people that don't understand that. There's lost trust here. And I think it's important to have it. And even if you take those logistical reasons and set them aside, there's still one more thing that I'd like to point out. Lots of different jobs have perks. Lots of them. Some people get perks. I had a friend who worked at Sur La Table. I know this because I always wanted a Jura Capresso, those $15 trillion coffee makers, you know. They grind the beans, warm it, they wake you up, rub your feet in the morning. You know, the really great coffee makers, right? And Sur La Table employees get 40% off. 40, it's 40, not 10. 40? 40% off. That's $400 off every 1,000. That thing's like $1,500. My God, that's $600. Anyway, I just thought, well, I want 40% off my Jura. Well, then get a job at Sur La Table, Warneke, if that's what you want. How about the airlines? This is probably the biggest perk people ever. Pilots, even the people that throw the bags, the mechanics. There's a guy that works at American Airlines at the credit card, and he gets to fly for free. Everybody gets to fly for free. We now all know this thanks to United Airlines, right? But everybody gets to fly for free. I want to fly for free. How come pilots get to fly for free? How come flight attendants get to fly? That's just kind of a perk of the job. And it's a way better perk than being able to park on near illegally at a Starbucks for 8 hours a day while you're working. But if you want the perk, go do the job. Otherwise, you're just entitled to not have the perk like everybody else. I don't get pissed when police or when flight attendants and pilots fly for free, because I didn't choose to go in that. If I wanted that badly, then I should go at the airlines. That's where I should get a job. If you work at a bar, you probably get free drinks. You probably get free food. You don't have to pay a cover charge. Salespeople get to take fancy trips and put people up in hotels and have dinners and wines, and they get charged to babe, I'm going to put on the company card, babe. Yeah, on the card. Yeah, I know. Yeah, just get another bottle. The company's paying for it, babe. Yeah, my portfolio's up. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, so, I mean, if you want to do that, go into business. Realtors is another one. Why? I don't want to pay a commission when I sell my house. Well, go be a realtor then. Most every job has some sort of perk, and the police perk, it really isn't. Cops can't drive around drunk and get away with it. Now, I'm not saying that doesn't happen, but for the most part, they get run, they get found out. Trust me, I worked with many of them. I can name lots of policemen that I know that have gotten DUIs. I would say it's the exception rather than the rule that they get let go. I'm talking about parking illegally while you're on duty. And so, Steve, you're saying, God, you threw a lot of information at us today. Therefore, what, Steve? Therefore, what is the point of this? The point is just to understand a different perspective. The point is to have a little trust, because there's a flip side to that coin if you want the perks that the police receive. And that's that you have to run toward the danger. When the mass shooting's happening at a theater, you don't get to run away and say, oh my God, somebody call the cops. You got to put on your stuff and go in and handle that. When somebody's broke into your grandmother's house at 2 a.m, you don't get to hide in the other room in the basement and call the cops. You got to put on your stuff and go up there and confront that person. So there's a trade-off to that. You have to go out there every day and put your life on the line for a complete stranger, sometimes just for property. Oh, it's a burglary in progress, and you get there and you get shot. Nobody was even home. So there's a trade-off. So I'm asking for just a little bit of trust and understanding that the next time you see a police officer park illegally, you don't give them a hard time. Or when your friend does, you go, hey man, listen, Look at the job they do. This guy, he's just going to get a coffee, you know? Or throw out one of the things. He needs his car close by in case something bad happens. Leave him alone. Jeez. But everybody's just so, we're not even just focused on our own lives anymore. It's just like, we're so concerned with what everybody's doing, with what everybody has. We're so concerned with fairness. But there's a lot of crap in life that isn't fair. It's just the way it is. And I don't think policemen are at the top of the list of jobs that are just totally unfair. I'd put pilots and flight attendants up there because flying for free is pretty damn awesome. Anyway, just a little bit of trust. That's what I'm saying. Just a little bit of understanding, some compassion, so that we look at each other and instead of being like, ugh, gritting our teeth at each other, we're looking at each other and we're going, hey, thanks, man. I appreciate what you do. Hey, thank you for not telling me you should write me a ticket. Hey, thank you for not making a comment about my park job. Thank you for taking a little bit of time in your life to try to understand what it's like for me out here, because I'm the one keeping the peace for everybody. And I don't do it anymore. I just feel so passionately about it. And it's so sad to me to see what's happened to everybody. And that's sort of why I wrote my book, From Boy to Blue, Becoming One of America's Finest, available at Amazon and at stevewarneke.com. I hope you'll check it out. And I hope you'll check out more of our podcasts on YouTube, iTunes Store, stevewarneke.com, and hopefully word of mouth near you. We'll see you next time. Thanks for joining me. I'm Steve Warneke. Be safe out there.